We are back, and now we are here to discuss the swimming organization. This is an affiliate of the Butter team of last year. If you were familiar with Butter, you get an idea. You have your Birdmen, you have your Jiggers, and you have your Zach Ashkenazis and your T-Pops.
Farka.
And Farka, of course. How could you forget David Farka? That's the group that's coming from Butter, and they made some improvements. They also made some not improvements, so they have some deficiencies, but their biggest improvement is right on the bump in Max Yadid, the 5th overall pick. Zach made his move. He traded to get there, and now he has Max Yadid on the bump.
Norman, I spoke to Zach draft night. I went into the room. I looked him in the eye, and I said, "Are you married to your friends this year?" He looked at me. He said, "I don't care about any of them. If they're there at the right time, I'll take them, but I don't care about any of them. I'm drafting a team to win this year." I think Zach went into this season saying, you know what? I did it my way last year. It didn't work out, and I'm going to make improvements. And like you said, the biggest flip that he did was he went from the pitcher that he had to Max Yadid. So he's ensuring himself that he has one of the top pitchers in the league, a guy that's going to keep him in every game, a guy that's going to give him everything he has on the mound, a guy that has great control. He's been, every year he's improving a little bit. Last year he was on a team that was, struggled to score some runs. It was a rough season. They had some rough losses. But he's a warrior and a champion, and he's got his guy.
Okay. He has his guy on the mound.
And his center fielder.
And his center fielder. He really wanted that trio. Himself at short, Max on the mound, and Farka in center field. But to your point, he went away from his friends because you thought he was going Toot Matute Greenstein at a certain point, and he went David Rishti.
Spoke volumes.
It spoke volumes to you, and you think it was a good pick, or you think it was a wrong pick? David
I
Rishti.
thought it was a good pick. I think at that point he wanted a little experience, a little veteran leadership, a guy that's known as a clutch player, and he went for his guy. David Rishti is all that.
Yeah.
Probably coming off a down season for himself, but a guy like Rishti's a professional, knows how to hit, he knows what to do. He's good in any spot in the field.
I think
he can play. He's good. Him and Stephen Matesh on this side of the infield are giving them a huge veteran presence. I've been very outspoken about having a guy like a Stephen Matesh. There's a reason he's always around, and it's not just Naby. I know the last years he's played with his nephew. He's on that trophy a lot of times without his nephew.
So he's in like 6 straight, right?
Yeah, he's been in 6 straight. Last 3 with Naby, but the 3 before that without Naby. So tell us about the infield alignment, how you think it's going to lay out. We put it up like this. It could change, right? I heard Avi's playing third, but you're saying Avi's going short center.
So I think initially what I saw and what I witnessed in hit-arounds was Ruby Saka taking a ton of reps at third base.
He's a good fielder.
He's a good fielder. I can't speak for his third base play as, we had 5 minutes.
Managed him a few years back. Good fielder.
But not at third. You
I
didn't see him at third.
No, more
so,
short center type.
Really, Avi could play third base. David Rishti's kind of a perennial second baseman, short center.
Play first.
He's
not good on his team.
He's played first. I don't know. I see it as a defensive deficiency. I mean, obviously you have Zach in shortstop, who's definitely the best shortstop in the league. But I think there's a lot of pieces in this infield that, although may fit as good fielders, may not fit where they are. And I think that's going to be something
The challenge to that point, though, is even if you mix it up, can anyone on this team man third base? I don't know. I don't know that Avi can man third base over the course of the season. I don't know that Rishti can.
My guy at this point would be Ruby.
So you would put Ruby there. Then you have Avi at short center. Rishti at second is solid, but not the most mobile second baseman in the world.
No, and there are a couple of teams with multiple third basemen also. So don't sleep on trades. We're doing this a few days after the draft. The landscape of the league may change a little bit during that time, but I think right now this makes the most sense. Now,
go to their outfield also. Their outfield defense. You're putting Farka for the first time in center. Farka had a great year in left. He gets very overlooked as a fielding outfielder. I thought he was great last year. He had one bad play the first week of the year on a very windy racetrack field.
That was a rough day.
That was a rough day. After that, I think he made every play, and he lost the Gold Glove by 1 or 2 votes to DK. So
T-Pup is a good outfielder.
Teacup's solid in right, and then you have Abe Haber in left. Can Abe Haber handle left over the course of the full season?
Abe Haber, Norman, and I'm going to say this here, and I don't know if anyone acknowledges it. Abe Haber is a top 3 arm in the outfield in the entire league.
He is.
96 players. He's 100% in the top 3 there. This guy can throw a ball from left field to the second baseman's glove, exactly in the position to make the tag, and his throws to the plate are amazing. I think he's a very good left fielder. I think that he provides a lot of protection to an otherwise not bad, but maybe a little bit of a misfit in the outfield. And I think this year is what you're seeing league-wide, is that a lot of people are being tested. You know, you have a guy being tested in a different position. A guy moving from left to center,
Don't forget,
right
it was
to
a little bit of
center.
a shorter draft. You have a few guys not returning from
Exactly.
last year. So you're definitely going to have that element. I think what Zach really was concerned with, especially in the earlier rounds, he did what he wanted to do Wednesday night. He got his guys. He got his pitcher. He has the shortstop in himself, and he got his center fielder. He didn't pick for a while after that. He was very concerned with offense. Who's going to be the guy that protects him and Farka? I think he felt Avi was part of that plan. Avi is a stick. He's an intimidating bat at times. He wanted to have somebody in that lineup, and he got him in Avi. And then he got David Rischte, who also can get a hit in a big spot. So when you're going to start talking about pitching around Zach and Farka, I'm not saying they're going to get the best pitchers always to hit, but when you have an Avi and a David Rischte and guys you have to think about at least, it becomes a little more difficult. Last year he didn't have that. This year he has it, and he has an ace pitcher.
He definitely has some boppers on this team because Abe Haber can drive the ball.
Yeah.
Farka is better than anybody in the league.
And Jigga
at the bat.
I
was
more than
just getting to
capable
Jigga.
of rocking one, and I love the Maxi D to Jigga battery. I think
Great,
it's a
great battery. Probably, when you take both pitcher and catcher together, that's as good of a battery as you're going to find.
Absolutely.
So a lot of it's going to come down to the role players. We all know the top heavy team swimming. Those guys are going to be there. Zach's going to be there. Farka's going to be there. No doubt about that. The big question is Ruby Saka going to cash in his chips? Is Jigga going to take that next step? He's saying
he needs that.
Jigga is saying he's at his playing weight this year. He was a little too thin last year.
I know Jigga, since marriage, he has a journal similar to Carlos Delgado's journal when he used to track the pitchers.
He's a student of the game. He's a student of the game.
Jigga has a journal, not on what he eats. He writes everything down. He says he's going to be at his playing weight. He looks fabulous. So listen, you're right, Norman. You need a couple of these guys.
Step up.
When Zach went to the World Series, he had Buka in the 10th round.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Buka blossomed.
Emerged.
If he doesn't have somebody play a little, one or two of these guys play a little above what they're used to playing, it might be, it's going to be tough for this team to win.
You know this better than anybody. What can help a role player take that next step up? A good atmosphere and a good chemistry, and swimming will definitely have that.
You're gonna have fun. You're gonna laugh in the clubhouse. You might not always be as serious as you need to be, but that's okay too. That's the culture. That's what it is. And he has his guys around him. It's going to be a good atmosphere. But again, they definitely need. Maybe it's a T-Pup. Maybe it's a guy that's got to play a little over his head to make this team succeed where they need to be.
Okay.
They'll be there, but they need a couple of guys to play a little above their heads.
I agree with you. All right. Thank you, guys.